peu.
Ah ouais. Oh, le bruit. C'est une hybride.
Ouais.
Putain. Hello Félix,
Hello.
Ça va?
Oui, très bien, merci.
Ok, merci de nous accueillir ici chez
My
Porsche.
pleasure.
On va aller en immersion avec toi et nous montrer à peu près ton univers.
Lui, c'est Félix Hirsiger, pilote talentueux de l'écurie Porsche. Découvrez son état d'esprit inébranlable, ses défis et les sacrifices qui l'ont mené sur les circuits les plus prestigieux. Comment surmonter la pression, faire face aux coups durs et transformer les épreuves en force. Félix nous livre ses secrets et partage avec nous les coulisses de la légendaire Porsche 911 GT3. Accrochez-vous, car ce que vous allez découvrir risque de changer votre vision du sport automobile et bien plus encore.
For me, the GT3 Cup car is very special because the car has no driver aids, so it's very personal, and you have to treat it as good as possible. Otherwise, it will hurt you in the long run. So you have no space for mistakes. And for a driver, it's very satisfying if you get it right, because you literally feel it and you can see the difference compared to other drivers. So this is what I would say is what I love most about the GT3 Cup racing, the whole series, and also generally about the 911.
Quels sont les aspects techniques d'une Porsche qui te donnent l'avantage compétitif sur la piste?
So 911 actually is not meant to be fast on the track, because physically it doesn't make a lot of sense, because the engine is all the way at the back, so all the weight is at the back, and you have no front end, so no grip. That means a lot of understeer, which can be created due to this weight distribution in the car. However, if you start to interfere with yourself, so you start to brake into the corner and start to do the weight shifts on the car by yourself, so you interact with the car like as if you're a one, and that is what makes it so beautiful, because you can, through the disadvantages that you get from as the car is, because they built it that way, you can actually make them your advantages, because with braking and with the weight distribution and with, of course, G-force and all of that, the car comes alive, and then the disadvantages become advantages, because you have more traction because of the weight at the back, and thanks to your braking you have a lot of front end grip, because you can actually make that of good use. So these are the technical aspects that in a series like a GT3 you get advantages for, because you can actually use them against other brands, whereas in a one make series, of course, it's all the same car, but in a multiple make series, you can really see the advantage of this technicality of the car.
Quelle est ta relation avec la marque Porsche et ce qu'elle représente pour toi?
The relationship I have with Porsche is work related now. However, it is a very strong relationship that has been founded, I would say, since I was born, so 26 years ago. And my father has always driven in Porsches and has always loved the brand for many, many years, also raced with them. And so it was clear for me that this is where I want to start my journey in racing and cars in general. So I made the step to become a sales representative at Porsche in Zug. And for me, the brand means just pure class and perfection in terms of technical research and brand awareness as well. Nowadays, super important, and I think there is no brand that does it as well as Porsche, which is really trying to cover all possible clients, which today is very difficult to do, but we manage it in a very, very good way. And for me, also the motorsport department, of course, which is a very rich in heritage, creates a very good foundation for me to set the foundations, to gain more partners because of the brand exclusivity, and also to move further up the ladder, hopefully. And so that is what Porsche means for me.
Tu peux nous parler des caractéristiques, par exemple, de cette nouvelle Porsche? C'est une Porsche que vous venez de la recevoir?
So right now we're driving in the new 911 GTS, which is also some technical masterclass from Porsche, because it's the first time a Porsche has been built with hybridization in the car. So we have a turbo hybrid setup, which is giving us a total power output of 541 horsepower, which is crazy to just even think about that. And for me, it was very difficult to accept this at first, but now seeing how this car performs and seeing how the electric aspect comes into play is incredible, and it's coming right out of motorsport. So for me, this car represents Porsche as well as nothing else, because we do the research, we go with the flow, but we do it in the best way possible. So for me, the 911 GTS, the new one, 992.2, is an absolute beast.
Comment décrirais-tu ton état d'esprit avant une compétition importante?
For me, the 2024 season was very special because it was, or is still, a very emotional season, because it was about to get back into racing and show what we are capable of doing. And that we managed perfectly. So with the whole emotions that we had, my family and myself, we really pushed through all of the hardships, all of the problems that we had. And there were some, but at the end of the day, with hard work and resentment, we came out on top at the end of the day in 11 out of the 12 races. So that really shows that if you really want something, work hard for it and give it your all, and have the right people around you, it is absolutely possible. And for us, I think the key point was the race in Imola, where the first race, nothing went to plan. However, we bounced back with winning the second race in the same conditions, which is always very difficult to do, to get that mentally right. But it showed that we have the perfect setup, and therefore could continue winning and winning and winning throughout the year, and create this incredible experience for all the partners and the sponsors, which has been key also now to continue this whole journey.
Cette saison, tu as remporté plusieurs victoires, notamment Red Bull Ring, dans la Porsche Sport Cup.
Ouais.
Quel a été your mind lors de cette course?
The mindset really changed during the whole season. So the first race was very much a blank sheet of paper, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know where we are standing. I knew that we were going to be somewhere in the front, but how far, we didn't know. And so it was basically trying to achieve the best possible in the first race weekend, which we did. And as of then, we kind of went more into the position of, okay, let's develop myself as a driver and use the championship, the good drivers, for comparison to further improve myself, because otherwise it would be a waste of time to just drive for fun. So we did that, and during the race weekends from Le Castellet until the last race in Misano, it was more and more becoming the best version of myself, which then also showed in qualifying lap times, gaps to P2 and P3, which then created more satisfaction, but also more want to go into a higher category to see and compare myself there. And that's what we did in Hockenheim. So we did one Carrera Cup Germany race, and saw that we're basically somewhere in the top 12, top 10 in the whole, I would say, European field there is, which was very good to see, and a good confirmation also to now continue to work over the winter with the whole simulator work and the plan for 2025.
Comment évalues-tu tes progrès entre chaque course? Quel est ton processus pour t'améliorer?
To get better all the time is very important, because the others do too. So what we do, we work with a lot of data, a lot of information from the car. But when you have a good team, which is what I had, the Fach Autotech team, they did an amazing job, and they have amazing people that keep track of you and also tell you when you're doing stuff not so well, which also happened for me. So when I won the first two races in the Red Bull Ring, Alex Fach called me and said, yeah, that was very good, but you still have a lot of room to improve. And I was like, wow, what? Come on. Yeah. But at the end I understood that it was by far, it was so far away from perfect, and it made my life a lot more difficult than I would have had to. So with those mistakes, we write them down, or we keep track of them, and we see that they don't happen again, because you can make mistakes but not twice, otherwise they start to cost a lot of money, and it gets frustrating. So in Le Castellet, the weekend after, we had the perfect weekend from the first session until the last session, last race on Saturday, and So we kept improving ourselves throughout the season in exactly that way. Keep track of the mistakes and then get results based on the progress, that you don't make those mistakes anymore.
Quelles statistiques ou performances personnelles sont les plus importantes pour toi et pourquoi?
For me, it's very important to know at the end of a race weekend, or whatever I do in life basically, it's not only about racing, but it's key that I know at the end of the day I've done my best and I've given my best. And if I then don't win or don't come out on top, I can live with it for the moment, but still the want is there to, of course, further improve. But I need to be sure that I have done the best of my abilities, and if they were not good enough, I try to improve them. But this is my personal goal and personal, I would say, way to keep track that I'm at my best and can be happy with myself as well.
Quels sont les rituels ou habitudes qui t'aident à rester concentré et performant?
For me, music has become a very big part of me. And
Okay.
I don't have a specific style that I listen to. I listen to everything, whatever my mood is up for right now. However, I always try to zone in 15 to 30 minutes before the race and just get my mindset right and just get into this instinct of being hungry for more. And because at the end of the day, we have to be so grateful what we get to do. And I want to take every lap like for the fullest, because I don't know if I'm going to do 10 more laps or 1,000 or 100,000 more in my life. So I hope, of course, 100,000. So I try to take it very, very serious. Not try, I do, but of course the maximum possible. And the music really helps me with that, so I can really zone in and get my focus right to have the concentration over 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour 30, whatever, how long the length of the race is. That really helps me. It's a big aspect of my preparation.
Quel conseil donnerais-tu à quelqu'un qui inspire à atteindre un niveau d'excellence similaire?
For someone to be at his best and to really get the most out of themselves, I would start with my surroundings. So check your situation. Do you have the right people around you that feed your inner hunger and feed your I would say passions? Because we have a lot of negativity in today's world, and they can often diminish all of your wants and goals and make them small. So you need to have the people around you to support that, and then they will also check in with you and tell you, hey, look, you could have done this and this better, or you could have improved here and there, and you can take them for the fullest because they want the best for you. And this is what really helped me and changed a lot in my preparation. So I would advise to check your surroundings first, because they make you also as a person. So the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with are most of the time very, very similar to you. And that is key, has been key for me, and I would say is also key for anybody trying to be at his best and achieving his goals and his dreams.
Quels sont tes objectifs pour les années à venir?
For me, my main goal is to be successful. I would say maybe that's a little bit broad, but I wanna really realize my dreams.
Tu es déjà successful.
Yeah, yes, but also for me, it's not been enough. It's been very good, but of course I now want to increase the level and the competition. So this is going to be the next step, to increase the competition, to increase the importance of the so-called championship. So with doing that, of course, there is more pressure, there is more difficulty in succeeding. That is a very important point for me. But also, privately, I want to improve as a human being. I want to improve as a driver, as an employee, and further improve and realize my dreams, which I can't talk too much about right now, but I think the close future will tell more about the private dreams and goals. So yeah, this is basically my goal for the next coming years, and also at the end, maybe, hopefully, to become a professional racing driver.
Que souhaites-tu accomplir dans le monde du sport automobile et au-delà?
The motorsport is very brutal, actually. It's not so nice at all, because when you do it, it's never relaxing on a race weekend. It's always super stressful, and you're only as good as your last race, and also the pressure with the lap time to be the best, to just get the best out of yourself at every given moment is super stressful. Yet I think it's the perfect sport, or any sport actually, but for me motorsport, to have a very, very good education for life, because it resembles so many life situations. And for me that really helped me to get over the passing of my father, and to get over so many things, and to learn how to deal with that, get it digested and shelf it, and when you ever need the lesson again, you can just take it out of the shelf. But this is what motorsport means for me. It's a school of life, and there's nothing.
La Porsche 911 GT3, une bête de course taillée pour l'adrénaline, moteur atmosphérique de 500 chevaux, aérodynamisme affûté. Félix nous emmène au plus près de la performance, là où chaque détail compte, chaque fraction de seconde peut tout changer.
Driving a 911 or a Porsche in general is just something special. You have the crest here, the Porsche crest ahead of you, and everything is perfect. The seating position, the sound, the steering wheel feel, the way you see the shoulders in the front and the hips at the back. It's just like there is so much history about this exact design that you don't want to drive anything else any day after. I'm very, very aware that there are other great cars as well, but just right now here there is nothing like a 911 that does this and compares with it. So for me, this is the exact same thing in the Cup car. The Cup car, you sit inside, I'm very tall, I'm 192, and it fits perfectly. Usually race cars are not made for tall drivers. So this is something that really, really resembles with the idea I have of a car. And of course this has been fueled by always seeing 911s and wanting to drive them. And that's what this car is also all about. So of course in the Cup car you have none of this comfort stuff. However, it's all focused on being as fast as possible and as comfortable as possible on the racetrack, while feeling or getting the most feedback from the car. So they manage that perfectly, because the car is so nimble and so fine in its feedback, with the braking without ABS. So if you lock a wheel, you can feel it immediately. If you lock the rear axle, the transmission, which is a 6-speed sequential gearbox, it's just perfection throughout. And this is exactly the same here. It's perfection throughout. 7-speed PDK gearbox, the engine, the throttle application, the braking is perfect. So there's no room for further improvement in a car like this, yet they always manage to do it with this model, for example. Yeah. So this is where they differ a lot.
Quelle est la sensation exacte que tu ressens lorsque tu accélères dans cette voiture sur piste?
The acceleration is very interesting. The acceleration is not really the craziest thing of the car, because it's a naturally aspirated engine and it has 510 horsepower. But it's the sound it makes. You hear the gearbox and the differential screaming in your ears. And when you then start to brake and you try to shave off the speed, it's just, you feel the weight, you feel the grip from the tires, that you're on the limit, the car is moving and it's dancing on the track. It's dancing, yet it is like on rails if you get the setup right and are right within this little range of limits that you can move yourself in. So for me, that is the craziest feeling ever, and it's so much pleasure to drive that car that I have to smile in the helmet, and I get like a muscle ache here after the weekend because I'm smiling so much in the car. It's so cool.
Si tu devrais choisir une caractéristique technique de cette Porsche qui te donne un avantage sur tes concurrents, quelle serait-elle et pourquoi?
For me, in the Cup car this year, we found a setup that maybe allowed us to run the car more for longer at a limit, and it's a very difficult setup to drive, and it makes the car very nimble and very reactive to everything you put inside the steering wheel. So every input you give is immediately resembled on the car, which makes it very difficult, however very fast. So I had to get used to this, and for Le Castellet, that was the first race weekend we did it, and we won both races with more than 12-second gap to P2. And that was just incredible, because I could really feel the advantage of this setup, which is difficult to drive. And I don't think anybody else used it because of the difficulties it can bring up. However, we we did it, and I think this was a key moment also for me to further develop as a driver, because I had to improve my skills to make it work.
Comment est-ce que tu te prépares physiquement et mentalement pour gérer les défis d'une course aussi exigeante?
I think the key of that is, as we said, is into preparation. So for me, I did a minimum of 150-200 laps on the simulator before the race weekends, and that just gave me a very good idea of what is to be expected. The rest, I trust in my driver abilities. However, I'm still very, very nervous, okay? So that you have to be nervous, otherwise you're doing the wrong thing. So I was always very nervous, but I knew that once I go out on track, the first 1, 2 or 3 laps of the weekend in the practice session are the most important ones. So when I go out, I focus on this first session, first few laps, and try to just get myself into the right mood, and then the rest of the weekend just comes automatically. So I really focus on the first part, and then when this comes right, I'm at ease and I can move on. So that has been a key thing that I've done over the race weekends. I've not managed to do it on one race weekend, which was Hockenheim. So again, there it was a higher level, more difficulty, more pressure, and I struggled with finding this groove. And I only did it in the first race and then the second race, but that was very, very difficult, where I didn't manage to do it. So this is very a key thing for me to get right.
Ah ouais! Oh, le bruit!
Oh.
Ah, c'est incroyable.
Et c'est une hybride, hein?
C'est une hybride?
Ouais.
Putain! Oh là là!
So here we have the new 911 GTS, which we just were driving in, and it's the first 911 with a hybrid powertrain, and it's done in a very smart way. So we have a hybrid turbo, which is electrified and therefore has no turbo hole. I think that's how you call it. We have active cooling in the front, so it looks very, very aggressive. Of course, this one is the all-wheel drive version, and I need to tell you, this car is like no other. So you can do everything in this car. You can go to the mountains, you can ski, you can go to the track and be super, super fast, even annoy some GT3s in this one, and go on vacations, 1,000 kilometers drive, super comfortable. I mean, what else do you want? We have the new HD Matrix headlights as well, shade green metallic color, first time on the 911s. And overall, I think it's just a massively good looking car. And at the back, we have, different to the old models, the closer to the center exhaust pipes, which is giving it a more GT car kind of look, but also more traditional again. So we have a lot of modern stuff, but we keep traditions high, and I think it's just an absolutely incredible car. And then in the inside, of course, because you have the 541 horsepower pressing you into your 18-way adjustable bucket seat, you need to have the perfect driver's position, which Porsche always manages perfectly. A lot of debate about this one, the start-stop button. It's here, and I think it's going to stay. However, it just works fine. And the GT Sport steering wheel, infotainment, everything has mostly stayed the same, except for the digital instrument cluster, which is super cool because you can actually vary a lot of displays. And my favorite one is the performance screen, which gives you the 7,000 RPM on the top, so you always know when to shift. So all in all, we have stayed very traditional in here and have given the car just some more modernization and further improved it as well. So for the long journeys or the racetrack, we have more functions and even better, I would say, stability in the system as well. And yeah, for me, an absolute winner.